everyone. Today, we're going to talk about something very, very important: resource planning in India. We'll try to understand why it's so crucial for a huge and diverse country like ours to have a proper plan for how we use our precious resources. So, let's begin.
To start, we need to understand a very basic challenge that India faces. You see, our country is blessed with so many resources, but the thing is, they aren't spread out evenly, and this creates what you could call a land of contrasts. So this brings up a really good question. Why does this happen? Why are some places so rich in one thing and so poor in another? Well, the answer is all about India's incredible varied geography. Different parts of our country were formed in different ways over millions of years, and that's what led to this imbalance. Let's look at a few examples, and you'll see exactly what I mean. On one hand, you have states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. These places have massive deposits of minerals and coal. But then, let's look at a state like Arunachal Pradesh. It has so much water, abundant water resources, but it doesn't have the infrastructure, the dams and canals to really use it. Or think about Rajasthan. It's perfect for solar and wind energy, lots and lots of it, but it has a real scarcity of water. And finally, if we go to the beautiful cold desert of Ladakh, it has such a rich cultural heritage, but it's quite poor when it comes to water, infrastructure, and some vital minerals. So what's the big picture here? Well, this uneven distribution means that while some parts of the country are more or less self-sufficient, many other regions face serious shortages of really important resources. And a situation like this, it really calls for a very careful and a very balanced plan. So we have this problem of imbalance. What's the solution? Well, the solution is planning. We need a proper strategy to make sure that things are fair and that our resources are used properly for everyone. So what is this resource planning? Put simply, it's the widely accepted strategy for the judicious use of resources. Now that word, judicious, it's very important. Let's pause on it. It just means using something with good judgment, in a wise and careful way. And the whole purpose of this kind of wise planning is to make sure that all the different regions and all the people in our country get a fair share. It also makes sure that we use our resources sustainably, meaning we use them in a way that doesn't finish them off so that our future generations can also benefit from them. Okay, so now we know why we need to plan. The next logical question is, how is it actually done? Well, resource planning in a country as big and complex as India is a big task, and it mainly involves 3 steps. The 3 steps are: first, identification and inventory; second, evolving a planning structure; and third, matching the plans with our national plans. Now let's break down each of these steps one by one. The first step is identification and inventory. So what does that mean? It means we first have to find out what resources we have and where they are. This involves things like surveying the land, making detailed maps, and also measuring the quality and the quantity of these resources. You can think of it like this. It's like making a very detailed shopping list of everything you have in your house before you decide what to buy. First, you have to know what you've got. All right, once we know what we have and where it is, we move to the second step: creating a proper planning structure. This means we need the right technology, we need people with the right skills, and we need the right kind of institutions or organizations to put our development plans into action. It's not enough just to know where a treasure is buried. You also need the right tools and a good plan to actually get to it. The third and final step is absolutely crucial. This is where the resource plans for a specific region are matched with the overall development goals of the entire nation. Every local plan has to fit into the bigger picture of India's progress. This ensures that developing one region doesn't happen at the cost of another. Now, there is a very important thing to remember here. Just having resources is not enough for a region to become developed. Actually, there's a little more to the story. You see, development is really an interactive process. Human beings, we are at the center of it. We use technology to interact with nature, with our physical environment, and we create institutions like schools and governments to speed up our economic development. So you need all 3 things working together: nature, technology, and institutions. And this is exactly why there are many regions in our own country that are very rich in resources, but are still considered economically backward. Just having resources without the right technology and institutions to support them can actually stop development from happening. The history of our own country gives us a powerful lesson on this. The rich resources in India, that was the main attraction for foreign invaders for centuries. The countries that colonized us, they had superior technology, and they used that technology to exploit our resources and to establish their control over us.
Because of this history, after we got our independence, our leaders understood this point very, very well. That's why India made serious efforts to plan its resources right from the very beginning, from the first five-year plan itself. It became a national priority.
So, as we come to the end of our discussion, let's just summarize the main goal. Why do we put so much effort into planning our resources? It's because we're not just planning for today, we are planning for our collective future.
So, the most important takeaway is this: balanced resource planning at every level, from the local village all the way up to the national level, is absolutely essential for the sustainable development of our country. It is the only way to build a fair, a prosperous, and a secure future for all the citizens of India.